ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Our friends from Canada, Toronto, we're here back to cover up some more soccer. And I have my friends Hamza and Artie. And I have a very important question for Artie for him to address.
From Scarborough.
Artie,
Yes.
did you know that it costs 3.5 million for the Spanish league to get the license from UEFA to incorporate goal line technology? Based on the Clásico and the game that happened, was it a goal or was it not a goal?
In my opinion, it was a goal, but also it's ridiculous that such a high...
So you think the ball fully crossed the line?
Yeah, I think so. I think it did.
You think it was a goal?
From there was like a specific angle that people kept showing me.
The fans showed better angles than the actual...
Than the VAR.
That one, it did look like most of the ball was in, but you still need a top view only because if it hasn't crossed the ball fully, then it's not a goal.
I think it didn't cross. Because like to your naked eye, it looks like it crossed. But from experience, like the ball has to be way in. Like you could look in fully from one side, but if you go top and you see the shadow still covering the line, it's still not in. Like I think it wasn't in.
This reminds me of Japan against Spain in the 2022 World Cup when Japan's goal, they scored a goal and the ball looked like it was completely out, but there was like a little bit, like this much, that was like remaining, that was still left on the pitch, so it wasn't fully out. So it counted. So
what about that Frank Lampard shot?
That was fully in. That was 100%.
Oh, definitely. They showed the cameras looking down.
Yeah, they replayed
onto
it
the
like
goal. Yeah, it did go in. That was 100% goal. 100%. What do you think though about that? What do you think?
I can't fully replay it in my mind, but probably a goal because it
hit the
fully in
post,
and out.
the crossbar.
Yeah,
bounced in, right?
Yeah. And then this puts me in the mind. I know we're swaying away from that Clásico, but you know that Colombian goalkeeper that had the shot come at him and he scissor kicked it from the back.
Scorpion kick.
And now that I look at it as an adult, I'm like, you could have just caught it. It was right there.
Yeah, but he wanted to.
And he sent it back to the opposition.
But he wanted to make like a move out of it.
Well, tell him it wasn't a wise move.
Well, did they score after that?
I don't know. Okay, so Hamza, you happy?
Yeah.
Did you think?
I'm very happy.
Were you? Would you say it was an even match?
Somewhat.
Like, did you think you deserved to win?
Yes, we deserve to win.
Based on what?
We got the job done.
No, I know you got the job done, but
we capitalized on the opportunities, and Barca had. They didn't have. I think the amount of chances were equal, but they had a lot of the ball. It wasn't a game that.
It was back and forth.
It was back and forth. Yeah.
Like there was an attack on each end, and you Barca could have won, and if it wasn't for Cancelo's 2 errors, Madrid doesn't
probably
get the win. Yeah. Like, man, Cancelo,
he's an enigma.
He's so attacking. He's an attacking guy. Like, it's hard to pin him down and put him as a a reliable. Like, he's literally the opposite of Vasquez. Whatever Vasquez is, reliable in the back, is not very adventurous. Then you have on his side Cancelo, who's very adventurous. And, like, he gets carried away with his role.
But Barcelona's fullbacks over the years have always been, like, eventful, and they always want to attack. Like, going back to, like, Dani Alves and Alba,
Here's the thing, though. I think Cancelo is a very good defender on one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But once, there's a counterattack where there's several players coming at, he gets lost completely. Like, that's why we got caught off on those 2 goals. It was a counterattack,
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know if we should extend him or buy him or for a loan. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should be looking at better players who are more, I would say, solid in the defense.
He can play as a winger.
I get that, but why would we buy him to play winger? Like, why wouldn't we go for an actual winger? You know,
have 2 good wingers.
You have Fati coming back.
Yeah, but I don't think Fati's gonna be starting anytime soon. I don't think he's in form. So
I think we should. I think I don't know. After this El Clasico and the Champions League, even though he was good in the Champions League, even though Araujo got a red card, I think he was still going forward. Like, why are you going forward so much when we're a man down?
maybe it's part of the coach's plan as well. Like we don't know what Xavi's instructing him to do. It may have been part of the plan to have.
I get that, but
Away
also
in numbers.
don't forget we're playing without a solid pivot. We're playing with the center back who plays as a pivot in Christensen. So I understand if he can go forward and then we have a pivot drop into his left back position, right? When we're defending, that's what Busquets used to do when Dani Alves used to go up. Busquets would drop, or like what Rodri does when
Cover up.
when
Yeah.
Walker goes up, right? He comes back to the right back
Yeah.
or left back if their
He
left back
does.
goes up. But we don't even have like that set up. So is that a coach's fault or is that like what is it? What I want to know, is it the tactical purpose of this whole thing, him going up?
I mean, if you
Are we trying to overload the attack and score goals? I get that, but also we have to. How many times we got caught off? We got caught off last game we played with Real Madrid too. Did you see how high the center back line was pushing it? And we had, I think Vinicius just ran around Araujo because we were pressing so high. And they scored a goal. It's once again the same mistakes.
I think for the most part it's been working for the fact that he goes like up. I think it's only been the PSG game when they got a red card and the Real Madrid game.
Oh, I'm going to say something else. I think in big games it doesn't work at all. Against the bigger teams who are more smarter and who are more tactical and technical, it doesn't work. It works against teams who are playing really defensive, yes, because you're overloading the side, you're overloading the attack. But it doesn't
So
work against a
it
bigger
opens
team.
up for
It
them.
doesn't work.
Yeah. So sell. So don't sign Cancelo.
I wouldn't. Personally, I don't think I
Okay.
would. He's 29 years old.
Would you?
I would keep Cancelo.
Bench starter.
No, I would start him because Barca's a possession team, and he's Dani Alves's grandson in a way. Like,
I know, but
if
he's
Barca
playing-
had possession and they won the ball when they first lose it in the attack, like he's your perfect guy for that. It's only when you're conceding chances and he's not,
So is he better on the left or on the right?
on the right.
Right.
Yeah, but you had Vinicius. They had to put Conde on as a more defensive
Mhm.
guy.
Listen, I like Koundé as a right back. If he stays as a right back, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah,
I think
he
he's
did well with Vinicius.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even PSG, he was playing really good too in
Yeah.
the right back against Mbappe. Nothing
Yeah.
less.
But Kunde has it easier on his side because he has Yamin, he has Jamal.
Somehow helps him sometimes, maybe.
Well, no, because he handles the attacking. He doesn't need to
Mhm.
attack so much because Jamal has that side. He had Camavinga very well yesterday. I feel like he had the better of Camavinga for the majority of the game. Actually, I
He
can't
was a
remember
very good player, I think.
a single
in that
duel
game.
that Camavinga won. And Camavinga is, athletically capable and everything, but he's coming up against a natural winger
Mhm.
versus a guy who's filling in that position. And Mendy was available. Like Mendy, he was rested, but he was like.
I think it's because he had started like the 3 games prior and he's played every minute. He hasn't been subbed out of any.
Yeah.
So he's even Carvajal. He was available.
But here's the thing. What do we have on the left? Who's our winger? Rafinha. He's a natural winger as well.
He's not a natural winger.
What is he then?
he-
He's more of a. I see Rafinha as a Rivaldo type guy. He's like from the middle. He'll burst from the middle.
He doesn't build up. He doesn't like to build up as much. He's just kind of explosive, is he not?
With wingers, like there are certain wingers that they. When you watch it on TV and let's say the camera's always shows the beginning of the game, the right winger. You see the action of the right winger so much.
Hmm.
And then the left winger, like let's say when you watch Arsenal, Martinelli would be all the way across.
Too far.
You wouldn't see exactly how he's doing it. But when Saka gets the ball, you see clearly the play that he has. And with Rafinha, sometimes when he plays on the other side. And the way he dribbles past people, you only get like forward directness from him. You don't see him like cutting or shifting his hips, his shoulders, and offsetting the defender, and then he would burst. He wouldn't do that. He would be more of like just a forward, direct, aggressive run. That's how I see Rafinha.
So he's like a direct winger, basically.
Yeah, which I don't see him as a. That's why I don't really see him as a winger. I see him as a guy that's attacking from the middle. That's how I see him. I see him like he can even, I don't know. He could play as
A false nine.
as a striker, like
Who's that?
Rafinha.
I feel like all wingers can, right? In a way.
Well, no, because they're like Yamin has a tidy figure, like a skinny figure. He can't really hold the ball and stuff. But Rafinha's strong.
Yeah.
He can.
I see what you're saying. Like I definitely think Lamine Yamal is the winger.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Whereas Rafinha, you're like, he's a winger, but also he doesn't do like the winger things, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't like to take on one-on-one, if you notice.
Yeah.
Like Ferran Torres is more of a natural winger than Rafinha.
But he doesn't always perform as good as Rafinha.
Well,
Yeah. Depends on the time.
Form, right?
Depends on the form. Yeah. Yeah.
Different forms.
Pedri versus Bellingham. Who would you take? You can't give me a biased answer, man.
No, it's not biases, but definitely just Bellingham. I think 90% of people would pick Bellingham.
You take a. Remember this topic we had? You take a Spanish midfielder. Or you take an English midfielder.
Bellingham is not your typical English midfielder, though.
He's your absolute typical English midfielder. He's box to box. He's hardworking. He loves a tackle.
He's a midfielder that I've never seen before. Someone that's capable of.
He's very
defending
Lampard-esque.
Defending so well and
you're talking about
so
Zidane,
well.
bro.
Even like the defending part, like when you see him going back and then tackling and getting the ball back.
Yeah, that's English. That's English style for
You don't see that with like you don't see that as much with Lampard.
He's exactly like Gallagher.
Gallagher is
listen.
like Bellingham.
Listen, Bellingham's getting a lot of praise now, rightly so. Amazing player, very attractive to watch. Personality is amazing. The way he talks is insane. Very like he's just happy. You just want to listen to him talk. But the stuff he does on the field, it's normal. It's just at a very high level. Like it's normal stuff that what he's doing. Like Pedri.
If it's at a higher level, that's not
Pedri's
normal.
I understand, but like there's certain players where you see artistry from them. Like Pedri, you can see his artistry. You can see that he has special quality. Dembele, he has special quality.
Okay.
Bellingham has normal quality that every player. Okay, I don't want to say every player has, but what Bellingham has, he has like an X factor attached to his name. Like he's just hype around him. He's scoring in late goals. He's a top personality, top player, but his skill level is normal. Is that a controversial thing to say?
So let me add to that. I think there's such a big aura around him right now in social media, especially, is due to the fact that he's English and he's playing in a foreign league. And so, we know how English players get praised in England. And so a lot of, football-related stuff comes from England media, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's a good player, but I think there's this media presence that's pushing it so far up your throat. He's a good player.
And he's
don't
living
get
up
me
to
wrong.
it.
And he's living up to it, yeah. But also, we're not looking at... let's even talk about, Bundesliga now. Let's look at Musiala. Such a good player. Every time I watch Bayern Munich, he plays a 9 out of 10 game. Every time I watch him, he didn't have a bad game so far.
Yeah.
Same thing with Wirtz. But do we see... I think they're... Look at Wirtz. How many goals did he score this season? 22 goals, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But he's having the same output in a different league.
Yeah.
Like, he pushed Bayern Leverkusen to win the league.
Yes.
In a way. But we don't hear
that's
the same
only
praise.
that's only because you were exposed to certain media. That
Exactly. But
Yeah.
but the media that we're exposed to is English. And what language do we speak? Where we live in Canada. What language do we speak? English. So this English media translates to us.
Yeah. Yeah, like you just said Musiala and you said Wirtz. I think those two guys are better.
I think they're better than
I think
they're better than Pedri
Bellingham.
too, in my opinion.
Who?
Musiala and Wirtz, I think they're better than Pedri.
You think they're better than Pedri?
As a players who can like take the ball and make a difference, they are. Pedri is more of a team player.
Musiala maybe because he drives forward. And anybody who can dribble and pass people is automatically in the top 1%
Right.
of players.
Dribbling is a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
especially.
like carrying the ball.
Right.
Musiala, like he's.
I agree with that. I think he's one of the best.
I think he's
dribblers in
German's
the-
best player.
I think so too.
But Wirtz is kind of similar to Pedri because maybe he's more attacking,
But he plays more deeper role though. He plays more attacking.
Deeper?
Than he plays
Deep
more
in attack,
attacking.
yeah.
Deep in
Yeah,
attack.
yeah.
Than Pedri.
He's more attacking.
See, Pedri is more of a guy who, look, you give me the ball, I'll pass it to forward, or I'll pass it to the side, and we're gonna make attack. Whereas like Wirtz is like, give me the ball, I'll create the attack. But Pedri's more like we'll build it together, you know. And Musiala is like, give me the ball, I'll do this thing.
Yeah.
And Bellingham he's sort of like that. He's like he'll get the ball and he'll do the thing. But comparing him to
yeah.
Musiala, I would say, like Musiala is
Yeah.
just as capable.
I think Musiala is just a better dribbler than Bellingham, but nothing else. For like qualities of like a midfielder, I don't think he's better than anything else, aside from dribbler. And I'm willing to like.
I think if Musiala was on my team, I would tell him, listen, I want you to do the least amount of defending, just roam around,
dribble.
just like Messi. Just
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the ball and carry.
Mm-hmm.
Dribble,
Yeah,
yeah.
just carry the ball and cause
But that
havoc.
doesn't. But that means that doesn't make you a midfielder.
Yeah, he's more of a number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, that means you can't compare him and put him in the
No, but
conversation of being a complete midfielder.
But we're talking
But we don't want a
about
complete midfielder. We want a midfielder that causes change, that changes the game.
Yeah, but when you said you want to put him in that position of him going around freely, that means he's not a midfielder during that game. That means he's not having the impacts of a midfielder.
Of course, what I said is not realistic, but I'm saying I would give him the least amount of
It would-
responsibility.
We never know. It may work. Like if they did try
Yeah.
it as like to put him as like a right behind the attack. Like I don't know.
Like here's another controversial. Well, it's not controversial anymore because since Kevin De Bruyne came back from injury, like I look at him and I feel he just looks like an old man. The way he moves sometimes, like he
I
just
think-
looks off the pace.
I think it's catching up to him.
Yeah, and
you
he
know?
even said it. Like I'm an old man compared to all these guys.
Mm.
You know, he's in the end of widths of his career, but he still has like moments where he has that.
His energy, just like you kind of see him motivated to like push the attack.
No,
I think
no.
He still got it.
Of course he's got it. He comes in like these moments of like, you know, he has that assist where he just kind of
Slices
that
it through. Like
no that ball, the way he curves it, like you can see his hips are like just takes the ball and curves it around.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get scared that his hips are just gonna fall off, like because he puts so much bend on the ball.
Twist
Like
off.
Yeah.
same with Trent, like he just bends that ball so nicely. Yeah, like a golf player, they do so much twisting. So I feel like he still has the twisting ability from a standing position, but in the dribbling stuff, you feel like he's getting tired and worn out.
So do you think like all these stories that we hear about the transfers, you know how Man City is looking at Paqueta or even Musiala or even Wirtz? I read a few articles.
We're
City-
Are
Wirtz
they,
not
are they
leaving.
looking for a replacement for De Bruyne?
Well, yeah, I mean De Bruyne is what, 32? 30?
Yeah.
What holds De Bruyne?
Probably
30
32.
33, I think, actually.
32, 33.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not.
I don't- do
That's
you-
not that old for.
But what about
Bro,
Foden? Like, is Foden...
That's not that old for someone who's playing his position. Like he's not.
Nah, he's getting tired. Man.
He's
I
not
feel like De
having
Bruyne is
the-
going to leave City next season.
Do you know how old Pirlo was when he played the final of 2015? against
What Pirlo
Barcelona?
asked for is different than what De Bruyne has asked for.
Yeah, but he can still. The thing with Pirlo was he wasn't running, right? He just stays. He like jogs around in place. He gets the ball. He tries to create a good pass or two that opens up that space. That's what Pirlo was on the field for. De Bruyne can do that. He just doesn't need to run as much, and then he won't be as tired.
Can't do
He
that
can
on
just
Pep's
keep
team.
going. He can do that whenever he wants.
You can't do that on Pep's team.
I don't know. I think.
I think De
Pep
Bruyne
can do
will.
whatever he wants.
I think De Bruyne will play a much lesser role next season, if he still thinks his body is, you know, taxing on him, just because of that injury, and I don't know if he can recover from it. But you said Musiala. I don't think Bayern will let him go. You said Wirtz versus staying. Paqueta, yeah, maybe in the summer
Mhm.
he'll make the switch. I watched Anthony Gordon interview today, and he was saying that, you know, I played for Everton, and me as a player, I have so much ambition, and it needs to happen for me, and it was never going to happen at Everton. I had to go to Newcastle to do that. So, does Paqueta maybe feel the same way? Does he want to, he's a beautiful player, and he plays in a team that doesn't play beautiful football. So does he?
Are you talking about West Ham?
Yeah. Does he want to move, or does he? Obviously, he wants to move. There was a Man City link, but is it gonna come to fruition?
Last summer he was supposed to move. It was like at the very ends of the deal, and it was something that it was very in the very small details.
Yeah.
So I think he will go, but that's if De Bruyne is willing to sit on the bench. I mean, these games when he's taking out De Bruyne and he's putting him on the bench, De Bruyne is not happy. He doesn't want to be like on the bench. He wants to play. He wants to be in those crucial moments. So, can you really just look at De Bruyne and after everything he's done for City and tell him, well, like, look, you've had a good run, but like.
Well, that's the hard thing
Next
in
season-
football. Like,
Next season you have to like sit this one out. It's like Lucas. I don't think De Bruyne is going to be like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Because even if you look at when you still look at his numbers, by the way, he still has numbers, huh? Like for the amount of games that he's had this year, he's had a good amount of numbers.
you come up with good moments.
So
That's all it takes.
I think he's. I don't think if De Bruyne is starting, if he's prone to injury more, then yes, get Lucas because injuries are going to happen throughout the season next year. But if you know De Bruyne is going to be healthy and he tells you he's healthy and it's all well, then I don't think you need another one.
Hamza, let me give you a very challenging question. You have Bellingham, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say
Proudly.
I take Bellingham away from you,
Yeah.
and I give you Wirtz and Odegaard.
Okay.
Do you take that deal?
Both?
Both.
No.
This guy,
No, I wouldn't.
unbelievable. Do you take that deal?
Instead, if I'm a Madrid manager,
Yeah, as a Madrid fan, hypothetically, you take out Bellingham from the team, and you take Odegaard and Wirtz.
For me, no, because Bellingham after this season, I feel like we know what to expect. Like there's a guarantee with like every season.
There's
that's
no
gonna
guarantee
come.
from anything.
No, there's a guarantee in terms of this guy's willing to die for the badge. So I'd rather have that over anything else.
Do you think that's true? People die for the badge?
And he's complete. Yeah, there is. I feel it with Bellingham just because the way he plays, and he's always like holding the badge and showing the badge.
Buddy, people get paid from the club, and they're
Yeah, but some people get offered a whole bunch and they don't. Like Mbappe was offered 700 million by Hilal. That's crazy for 1 year. That's 1 year.
yeah. But that's a big cultural change. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to the
You're
question.
just saying about money. You can't say cultural change. You're saying someone when money's there, it's gone. I'm telling you 700 million per year. That makes you that would have made
Yeah,
him
well,
richer
but
than
that's-
like
That's a lot of effects. A lot of factors come into why he rejected it.
Well,
Competitive, culture.
yeah, but that's you can say that about Bellingham too. You can say it's about competitiveness and he wants to win European competitions. He wants to
Artie,
yes.
Wirtz, and Odegaard for Bellingham. I love how you guys are thinking about
I
it. Like
mean-
one of those guys versus Bellingham is enough of a comparison. But you add two.
I think I would swap out, but just not because I don't like Bellingham like you think, but I do like Bellingham. He's a good player. I just think like you're bringing in two quality players
Yeah,
instead of one.
you
now,
you can't reach
yeah,
that.
but that's not but there's no guarantee. Like, look, we got Kaká in 2009, and I was so hyped for him. I was so hyped because he was one of the best, but he just didn't fit in. Like
He fit in. It was just Ronaldo didn't allow him to fit in.
you can say that, you can make your speculation, but I mean, on the field, he didn't. His numbers weren't as much. There were
Yeah.
injuries. He didn't get as many minutes, maybe in the training as well. He
Yeah, you
wasn't
know
as
why?
performing.
Because he was used to being number 10 in AC Milan.
He was
He
the
comes to
number
Madrid.
one,
Comes to
yeah.
Madrid. You got a bigger fish, and there wasn't enough room for both
But
of
that's
them.
Bellingham right now. Bellingham was the biggest fish in Dortmund, and then he came here, and there's Vinny, and there's Rodrigo, there's big fish in the team as well. But look at what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that.
No, I'm not saying you're doubting it, but you set an example. I'm looking at it from like the same example that you said, but with Bellingham, because you're saying it may be hard. But Bellingham is doing this. And
Okay, let's flip it the question. Would you swap them both for Pedri?
Swap 'em both who? What?
Odegaard and Verts. Would you swap them both?
they're
out
not the
for
same
Pedri?
position.
You saying take Pedri
Yeah,
out
take
and
Pedri
put
out and swap them.
Verts and Odegaard in
Yes.
Barcelona?
Yes.
Okay, see, now I'll give you a different answer. Pedri is from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Verts. Okay, fine. I guess I gotta take it. It's two guys versus one guy. What are you gonna do?
I think I would take that too, even though I'm a Barca fan. You know?
if I was a Barca fan, I wouldn't. Only because
You and your
No, only
buddy.
because-
It's not. It doesn't work like that. You're
No,
you're
it
taking
works,
two
it
guys.
works. It
You
doesn't
get
matter. Two
two
guys.
guys.
You have a guy like you said. Why did you move away from that point that you started? A guy from Spain. He's like the blood of.
I
the
was gonna
team.
say. I was
And
gonna
he's
say.
a crucial midfielder, and he's a guy that like the team is like
And he speaks the language of the
refused like
club.
150 million for. Like this is, I wouldn't switch. If I was Barcelona, I wouldn't switch.
No, but you need to like, you need to know when to let go of traditional values versus making the right decision.
if you're gonna make that
Correct.
decision to bring more attacking options, and maybe bring more goals,
Not
but
just
then sacrifice Pedri, which is the one who's I don't know. Seems. So you do it?
I have to.
So-
It's for the better of the club.
Okay, so you took out Pedri. Here's a question for you. You took out Pedri, and now you have these two midfielders. So what's your starting lineup now? Assuming everyone's healthy.
They compete for each other.
What's the start? Everyone's healthy. Everyone's good. Everyone's training well. But Pedri's out. What's your three midfielders?
I mean, De Jong, Odegaard, and Gundogan.
Gavi?
He's injured.
No, I'm saying if everyone was healthy.
It depends, man. It depends on that.
You're gonna break one of these stars, and you're gonna put them on the bench.
I'm not gonna put them on the bench. Everyone's available to play, but you can rotate. It doesn't work like that. It's when you pick a line, man. I can't just give you the three best players. It all depends. The coach is gonna look at the training ground. You're gonna see who's making jokes with who, who's laughing with who gels good with this guy, who
Yeah.
complements the other guy, and you make a team. That's
You know, you can even play Verts on the left wing because he plays wing sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
that's different. But he
Gavi too.
Gavi too.
But he was placed in the question as like a midfielder, right?
Yeah.
You said like if he was like
Yeah.
a midfielder.
Yeah.
All right, let me use this as a transition. I think we should sell De Jong. I think Barca should.
Sell De Jong.
Yeah, I think we should.
How old is he?
27.
What do you got against De Jong?
I just don't think he is bringing to the team something that we don't already have.
What does that mean?
That's a good
You know,
way of
we bought
putting
him
it.
to have him as a
A
guy
Busquets
who
role.
absorbs pressure and moves the ball forward under pressure. But we already have players like that. We already have Pedri. And with the emergence of Gavi and Fermin Lopez, I don't think we need him.
I love De Jong, man.
I love
He
De Jong
never-
too.
He never loses the ball in the middle.
I love him too, but for the greater good of the team, I think we should sell him. And I'm talking about only because, you know, we need money, let's say, and we need money for a pivot.
Last
We're selling grass for that.
last
We don't need it.
last summer United was close, were they not?
Yeah.
From getting him?
No,
I think it was
he
like
he
70 or
squashed those
80.
rumors.
Oh, it wasn't close.
Yeah,
But
he
it was like
squashed those
70,
rumors.
80.
Yeah.
So you get 70, 80 for De Jong, you're not.
I think we have to take it, bro.
You're selling? You?
I'm
Are
selling.
you selling?
70, 80?
You have to look at it this way. You're a president of the club. You know, you like the player, but you have to put the team first.
But why am I trying to sell? Like, I look at Barcelona now. Their team is amazing. Like, what do you need to do? Like, what?
I don't think
Honestly,
we're-
like,
I
their
don't think
team
we're
is very
amazing.
good.
I
What
don't
do you
think
need?
so.
You don't think the team
I
is
don't think
amazing?
so. You know why? Because
I
we
wouldn't say amazing.
we
That's-
still
that's
have
too
those
big.
flashes where we lose, we lose the game in the second half. We've done this several times this season, and we've done it in crucial games too. Like, this team does not play big games well. They don't. It's just a fact.
I was gonna say like
They were-
continuing on to his point. It's something that Samar, the guy that I work with, he said as a Barcelona fan.
Yeah.
He said right now when like before he was comparing it to times of before, there's like fear. You feel like there's fear from other teams. Now when other teams play Barcelona, there isn't that fear. Like they don't have that fear like, okay, we're like intimidated. There's like a whole bunch of these stars in front of us that are gonna like crush us. He feels like other teams right now, they're not intimidated by the
By Barca?
by the Barca team. Yes.
Why?
Because of their performance. Have you watched?
Bro, they've had an amazing season since Xavi said he's leaving. Their
Since-
season has been... Bro,
I think
they're having a very
having-
good season,
I
by the
think
way.
they're. I know we said this before too, and I told you I agree with you. I said I think they're having a good season too, and I don't think they should fire Xavi, but they're
Well, he's leaving.
a
They're not
trophy.
firing him. He's leaving.
He's leaving, but I mean I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like somewhere.
But bouncing on your point, I think that if you trying to be the best, and like you say, oh, Barca's having a good season, but what do we got to show for it this season? If we're having a good season, tell me. We didn't even win anything this year. No,
I didn't say a good...
silverware at
Like,
all.
we first started talking about a good squad. And then I said we were having a decent season. A good, a good season until, the breaking point where they couldn't... They had one mistake that changed the Champions League game. And the Clasico was a 90 extra time minute goal. Could have won either way.
even the first Clasico, it was last minute.
Well, that's...
Yeah,
Yeah,
That could
Bellingham
have been-
too.
that's what I'm
too, yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
We crumble in the big
And
games
the
in
beginning of our
second half.
season wasn't a good start.
Yeah.
And we only reacted in the second part.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like I'm personally, I wouldn't. Maybe only Lewandowski move him on, keep Joao Felix.
You bought him 2 years ago for 50.
The only problem with Barca now is their financial. They have no money to buy players, so you're not even in a position to buy players. So
That's why you have
you're
to
lucky.
sell.
You're lucky to have people. Yeah, but you're gonna sell. You gotta bring. You can't just sell and not bring. Like you're lucky to have people like Kubarsi and Jamal and Fermin Lopez and people like that. And honestly, if Joao and Cancelo want to take a lesson from Piqué, Busquets, and Jordi Alba and take a pay cut, then they're club legends from now.
Well, Cancelo already took a
should.
pay cut to come to Barca, so I think it's if they do buy him this season, I heard that he's also gonna get.
But the
cut
pay
his
cut
salary.
Zayn is talking about is going to be different because that's going to be one that he's going to do from the contract that he's made in Barcelona. Not comparing with the one that he had in City, because City were, I think, paying him something like 200 per week. I don't think Barca pays
Well,
him
I
that
think
much.
even you're talking about pay cuts. I think even Felix is gonna take a pay cut. But let me just finish on my point. I think that if you're trying to be the best, and like you say, having a good season is not enough. If you want to be the best, you have to win trophies. You have to win finals. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, let's switch gears. Who wants to handle a hard question? Okay, who did I ask the question in the beginning? I asked you about the VAR, about the goal line technology. I asked you, right?
Yes,
okay.
you asked me. Yeah.
Okay, so Hamza,
no, both of us. You did. You asked me too.
did I?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought of it. Yeah.
Okay, Hamza, you are now
Yeah.
Nicholas Jackson's agent,
Okay.
and you have to make a point to defend your player against
Okay.
all the criticism he gets.
Okay.
We just watched Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Yes.
A demolition, by the way.
A demolition.
Okay.
Do you blame Jackson? Okay, you're his agent. Tell us why we should be patient with Jackson. Does he have more to offer? What do you got to say about your player?
Yeah. So, if I was the agent, I'd be saying, look, Premier League greats.
Retire?
Premier League greats, they don't necessarily happen in the first season. Now, it's his first season in Chelsea. Take that into consideration. You're under a whole new team in Chelsea, so all new players as well. It's not like a foundation and you're just a player that's going to be adding on. There's a new board as well in Chelsea, a new coach. So all these are factors of him going into the club. Now, you look at Premier League greats, you look at like Cristiano Ronaldo,
Frank
Ruud van
Lampard.
Nistelrooy, Frank Lampard. Do you remember their first season? Do you remember how many goals they scored? Do you remember if they were effective? Do you remember what their stats were? They were like, my client's stats is he's the only player this season that has a hat trick against Tottenham in their own stadium. So
The only guy.
It's the only guy. And when you look at like strikers now that are like Nunes is a little more developed into the team now in Liverpool, right, than he was last season.
Mm-hmm.
Last season he wasn't performing well, so Nicholas Jackson can be the Nunes next season. He could be Haaland. You never know.
The only problem with Jackson now is not only is he not firing, his team is not firing, and he happens to be getting the chances to change the perspective or to change the rhetoric on Chelsea, and he's not converting them. And when he's not converting them, that frustration that was already there with the Chelsea fans is being dumped on him.
Yeah,
and he's just like 21-year-old kid from
I feel
Villarreal.
They're doing it too. They did it to Sterling too. They did it to Sterling as well. But hey, the fans want performances. The club has been paying so much money, and
Yeah, to be honest, Jackson's game is like pretty good until he tries to shoot. Like he tries to
like
score.
his skill set.
Like he holds it well. He runs the line. He can get the ball. He's very fast. He beat Saliba in a race today.
Mm-hmm.
He can drive up the ball. He just can't. He does all that work, but then you want him to score. He's too tired by the time he gets in front of the goal. And to be the finisher at the end of chances, he's not doing it because maybe. Like we saw the internal role between Madueke and Cole Palmer, and that guy must be I don't want to say singled out, but he must be lonely in the depths of his,
In the team, you mean?
In his
Cole
heart.
Palmer?
Like he must be Nicholas Jackson.
Oh.
Like if the team had good energy, Cole Palmer should go take that ball and give it to Nicholas Jackson because you didn't score. Let me boost your confidence.
Yeah.
Give you the opportunity to come score. But then what happened was, Nicholas took the ball first. Madueke took it from him.
Mm-hmm.
Gallagher came, takes the ball from them, gives it to Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer takes the ball, and I remember distinctly Nicholas Jackson comes and he like pushes him away to like it's my ball. So it's already that unhealthy competitiveness between the attackers.
Yeah.
It means that they're not bonding together to create plays.
Okay.
And that's where I think Chelsea's problem comes from. Their defenders are not the problem. Their midfielders are not the problem. They build up nicely. Caicedo and Enzo, they have a good pivot system. It's only when they give it to the strikers, they don't convert second chance. They don't convert third chance. Defenders win it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, your attack line becomes so neutralized that the game just turns against the defenders and the midfielders, and
It gets frustrating for
they
the
lose
rest of
and
the
lose
team,
and
I
lose
think,
and lose. They just don't have the cohesion in attack.
Mm-hmm.
So you were telling me the question as if I was the agent. Now you as the board, as like a Chelsea board, do you have this friction between Palmer and Jackson possibly?
Mm-hmm.
Palmer's having a great season. Jackson still try to catch up. He hasn't played in the Premier League before. What do you do in the summer as a coach? Do you stick with both? Or do you feel like
of
it's
course.
still hurting the...
What do you mean? You can't let Palmer go. He's gonna be the main guy here.
Shoes.
I think that like maybe you look into the market for another striker just so he has another sort of competition there. I know Broja is coming back from Fulham, but I'm not sure Broja can provide that strict competition that somebody else would bring, from another team.
So you spend more money?
Yeah, for another striker.
Is there a way that you can make an argument and say that the fact that Cole Palmer's success in a dysfunctional Chelsea is actually a negative?
A negative
It's almost
for who?
for the team, anyone except Palmer. It's like he's like, oh, we have this problem, but I'm not part of it. It's just I'm the one making all the,
I think
making all the goals.
It's a yes and a no. I
Like-
can see both points.
Yeah,
So you feel like... What do you mean by that?
like
you feel he's-
Palmer's success is because he's working in a dysfunctional team. Had he been
He was in City.
No. It's kind of a tricky thing to say. I don't want to say it so clearly because people are gonna miss the point. If you take that penalty incident,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cole Palmer got the hat trick. Didn't he get the hat trick that game?
Yes.
But his team is fighting, and he's the one getting all the praise. He got the hat trick. Is he living up this Chelsea? Like, is he happy that his team is obviously he'll say no. Is he? But internally, he must feel safe about the future of Chelsea now that he's performing how he's performing.
Okay, well, that depends on what you think of him and his personal drive as a competitor. Like, you look at him as, like, his character as a player, and you kind of evaluate for yourself. Do you see something inside of him where he wants to, like, care for the team? Like, does he care for Chelsea? And I think, like, from what I've seen, like, he's trying to perform for the team.
It's hard to read that kid. He has no emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it all comes
Zero.
down to, again, like, the age of a player.
Yeah.
I think in a way he's loving all the praise that he's getting right now, and obviously that's why like he wanted the ball to take the penalty to score the hat trick, because come on, we were all young, you know, when we were playing so good at soccer and for the team, we all wanted the praise. I think it's what's happening, but it's just on a more competitive level, on a higher stage, and in a way I think the age is what plays the big role here.
Probably, yeah.
And that's with not only him, but also other people. But if we're talking just him, it's definitely that. Like, he's raising his stock. You know what I mean? Do you think he's going to... Like, if he doesn't... If something happens to Chelsea and he decides to leave, he can do it like that, bro. There's going to be other teams waiting for him.
That's what I mean. He's saved himself this season. But
he's saving himself, exactly.
But his team is like...
I think he's saving himself, but he's making it look like he's also doing it for Chelsea to, obviously, again, raise his stock.
But I think the real way to like test if he cares about Chelsea or not is if this season he gets offers, and what he's gonna say. Like, if he's gonna tell them like, okay, I don't wanna.
Well, I don't think he's gonna get offers this season because they just bought him this season, right? This 2023-24. But the thing is, if we're looking at the teams that are monitoring his whole, you know, situation. There's the top six. The top six are for sure.
Where would he go?
Into it. Well, you name a club and he'll be there.
Where would you see him right now? Where would he go?
I mean, you mean just in England?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see him in Liverpool.
Liverpool.
You know, Salah's getting a little bit older. You know, I think
he surprises me, man. Like, Cole Palmer just surprises me. He's so skinny.
Yeah.
And when he gets the ball, it's not like he's fast.
Right.
And he's slow. His like. The way he handles the ball is like slow.
His flexibility and movement is...
No, his IQ is what it is. His IQ.
He's just a natural player. Like, he's a natural soccer player.
Talented.
Yeah, very, right? And he's English. You wouldn't expect that from English players per se, you know? Like, if we're talking like silky players, we're looking at Spain or Brazil, right? But he's the English player who's silky and very good on the ball again.
Kai Havertz or Nicholas Jackson?
Nicholas Jackson.
What did Kai Havertz do to you? Where did he touch you, bro? Show me.
No, I just I just don't I don't think he's as don't think he's as good as the hype. I don't think he was worth the 70 million move to...
Let's flip this question.
To Chelsea or the...
Would Nicholas Jackson do better at Arsenal this season?
Than Kai Havertz?
Yes. No. Then at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a guy who's getting into positions. It's not like Nicholas Jackson is not getting into positions. He is, and he's fast, and he can take on players.
That's a good...
But now you're putting him into the same situation, but on a different team.
You feel like maybe the Arsenal squad are like friendlier. You see like videos of them like goofing around and playing around. Maybe he'd have more of a place there and he'd be more welcome there, and that means he's like
this, like,
yeah, like, hey buddy,
hey,
you
buddy,
know,
give me my penalty.
He gets invited for drinks and whatnot. You know,
he doesn't have to ask for penalties at Arsenal.
Yeah.
They'll just give it.
No, I just think the project in Arsenal is better. The plan is better. The coaching, the coaching is what it is. Like, Arteta had these problems in Arsenal with Aubameyang and Lacazette, and he put his foot down and he told them, "No, I'm the manager. My way goes." And
if you don't like it,
it changed. Yeah, it changed. Then he took Ozil out, took Aubameyang out, and he's learned from the best. He's learned from Pep. Pochettino had that in Tottenham. But with the new change in Chelsea and the board, and it's
Yeah, I
just
think
not
Chelsea's
happening
just a
yet.
mess in general. Like
It's
they're
just-
still going through transition.
They need
and-
time.
I feel like
guess, on
he just lost 5-0. Tomorrow morning he's gonna go to the training ground. Like, what's he gonna do? How does he pick up that team? Like, how do you? His biggest
He
problem
has-
is the attackers. Like, how do you make the attackers gel together? Like, it's not.
It's not easy.
It's.
How do you-
Don't
How would
forget
you
always
do
the
it?
language barrier as well.
No.
No.
For Modric,
I
maybe.
think so. No, I think so. Where was Nicolas Jackson playing before?
Villarreal.
Yeah, Spain.
And he's French, right?
He's from Senegal. Senegal?
Yeah, Senegal.
Senegal.
Senegal, so they speak French there. So he was a Frenchman that was in Spain, and now he's in England. So there is a miscommunicate in the languages.
Modric too doesn't even speak English.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
But
then you have these two, and then going back to the incident itself, the person that took the ball, Connor, right? And then he gave it to Palmer.
Yeah.
And Common doesn't speak. No.
Guys,
Like it's too.
there's a
it's too
designated
English.
penalty taker. There's a designated penalty taker.
Yeah.
And it's up to him to decide whether he takes it or he gives it to someone. That's it.
Yeah.
It's either him or the captain.
And he did say that, the coach.
Right.
He was very clear with that.
So I
He
don't think
said-
he's in the wrong for taking the ball and shooting the penalty. But now you're talking about like him individually. Yes, he probably should have given it to Nicolas Jackson.
Yeah, because last week when we talked about this, I mentioned the example of Morata and Sergio Ramos in the Spanish national team.
Yes.
It happened, and Ramos gave him the ball. He told
Yeah.
him, "You're in a slum, so lift yourself up, pal."
Yes. But going back to the question, like, how would you fix the situation in the Chelsea if you were Pochettino?
For the attackers,
Yeah.
I'll make them every time you get the ball, you have two touches. And
I knew you were gonna say something so stupid.
You have you have two touches. If you don't pass it after the third touch, we're gonna bench you in the next game.
Wow. This guy is gonna have
So-
no attack to put out the next game.
Actually, here's a good. it has nothing to do with it, but since you're a coach, if you had like two attackers, like two really good strikers in your team, and they're like really young, you're coaching like 10-year-olds, right? Like they're 10-year-olds, they're two strikers, they're very good, and you love both of them. They're both from South America, so they have that heritage that you talk about, So what do you do if they don't like each other and they both want to start and they both perform well?
You put Firmino between them and they'll play well.
Smart ass. How do you deal with it though?
You
How do deal
you
with
play one at each time. You sub each other out.
it? That's tough to do at a professional team though.
Well, in a professional team, you put Sadio Mane on one side, Salah on the other side, and you put Firmino between them, and you make them the link.
It's kind of like when Real Madrid at one point had Benzema and
Cristiano?
Higuain.
Higuain.
Mm.
Yeah, and there was always debates between Real Madrid
And
fans, like,
Higuain
who'd you
was
start, who'd you
Higuain
start.
was the one from the beginning to start. Benzema was still young, and then Benzema just came in.
Higuain came 2 seasons before Benzema.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
he was
three-
younger.
Three
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
3 seasons. No, he's only a year. He's
Yeah.
only a year younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be like even Lacazette and Aubameyang.
What about them?
Like Lacazette had to like play the lesser role.
But Oba was playing left eventually, no? He used to
Well,
play
they
left
switched.
when
Sometimes they played two
were-
together.
Do you remember
Yeah.
their celebration? They had a celebration together.
Was it like that? Was it like something like that? What is it? Something like he goes like
it was
this, or-
it was I think one finger and then they bow down like
Yeah.
bow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on the video
Yeah.
so you guys can see it. You guys can.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have from us. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
We have to cut it short. We had trivia, but that's for next time. Next time
Yes.
we'll have trivia for you
Yes,
guys.
yes. Okay.
Spice it up.
Okay. A pleasure speaking with you guys. Until next time.
Likewise.
Cheers.
And you guys.